Hello, my yarny friends. I'm Sara Sach. Welcome or welcome back to another Friday Fun Day. Well, today we're going to make the fall leaf hot pad to go with our fall leaf tea towel. And there are two ways that you can do it. They're made the same, but you can do it with two thicknesses, so you get a nice thick hot pad. Or you can just do one thickness like I did on this one, and it becomes a nice decoration for the table. You can make several of them and put them together to make a nice centerpiece. Whatever you want to do with these is totally up to you. It's just a really fun and easy pattern, and I think you'll really enjoy making it because there are no tricky stitches. We do have front post and back post down the center, but besides that, it's all double crochets and double crochet decreases. And this is just a little picot stitch down at the bottom to give that sort of leaf look. And the way that it works out, it kind of has a twist to it, so it kind of gives that twist of the leaf. And then the loop is the handle or the stem of the leaf. I love them, and I think it makes a great set along with my fall leaf tea towel. Now I'm going to put the fall leaf tea towel link down in the notes underneath this video, as well as the leaf, of course, so that you can find those links. And then I'm going to go back to the tea towel and I'll put the link for the leaf in there so you can make a nice set. All right, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's a lot of fun, and you can use whatever cottons that you want as long as they're medium weight, number 4. All right, so that pattern link will be down in the notes underneath this video. All right, let's talk yarn. Now I'm using this. I love this cotton, and it's called Harvest Hues. It's what we used for our tea towel, and so we want our hot pad pot holder to match our tea towel. Now I made this one here. This is our demo, so to speak, our test. And this yarn is from Caron Simply Soft. It's called Caron Comfy Cotton, and it is called Fireside is the color. It's really pretty. And I originally was going to use this particular yarn, but it is so busy. Even though I really love how it turned out, it's just super busy. Although I love it, and I'm still going to use that one as well. But we're going to be using this cotton that I talked about. I love it also. I think it's perfect for a nice set. And I have enough of this left. I can make the towel also and make a set to maybe give away. Now this one here is just made with 1. I didn't do 2. I'm going to show you how to make 2 and put them together. And whether you make 2 and put them together or just make 1, because this makes a nice decoration on the table as well, you know, for fall. You could also make a few, stick them across your mantle, or use them to put candy dishes or candles on. They're really a neat pattern, super easy, like I said. And so we're going to use our H hook, which is a 5mm crochet hook, and you need your needle. Now to make our fall leaf hot pad, you're going to need about 3 ounces because we're making a front and a back. If you're just making one that's a front like this, you just need about 1.5 ounces. All right? And remember, these have about 3.5 ounces on them. Let me check. Yes. No, this has 3 ounces on them. So you'll need one of these to make the hot pad because you need a front and a back. But if you're just going to make the fronts, you can make 2. And remember, you can use any medium weight number 4 cotton for this project. It's a good idea to maybe get in your yarn stash and find some pretty fall colors that you haven't used before and make this lovely hot pad, or maybe set with the tea towel. So I have made 1 up ahead of time because we're going to need 2. And whether you're making 1 or 2, the leaf portion is done exactly the same. So if you want to make a hot pad or pot holder with 2 sides, you're going to need to make 2 leaves. Okay, so I've got 1 done. I'm going to set it aside and show you how to make the leaf. I've grabbed my gold mat to make it a little bit easier for you to see my stitches. since there's quite a bit of this yarn that does have some lighter cream color in it. All right, so we're going to begin with a slip knot, and we're going to chain 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to place 4 double crochets in the 4th chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll go in, pull up our loop, yarn over again. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 double crochets stitched in the 4th chain from the hook. All right, we're going to go ahead and chain 3. And so we chained 4. So this beginning chain 3 counts as our first stitch. And then we stitched 4 double crochets. So that gives us 5 double crochets for row 1. And then we chained 3. And that's the bottom point of our leaf. Let's do row 2. We've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. We're going to stitch our double crochet in the first stitch. Then we'll stitch 1 in each of the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then in that last stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And again, chain 3. So what we've done is we've increased at the beginning and the end of our row. Where we had 5 on row 1, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets, chain 3 for row 2. We chained 3, we're going to turn our work. We're going to double crochet in that first stitch because we want to increase again. Now we're going to double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. Now in this next stitch, we're going to do a front post double crochet, and that's going to give us our vein down the center of our leaf. So instead of placing our double crochet up here, we're going to go around the post of the stitch and stitch a double crochet. We're still stitching a double crochet, we're just putting it in a different place. All right, so now what we're going to do is stitch a double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2, and that leaves our last stitch, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. 1 and 2, and chain 3. All right, so let's take a look at it real quick. So we increased by 1 here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets, a front post double crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets on that side. And this is going to run down the center of our leaf to form that vein of our leaf. We chained 3, and that's the way row 3 should look. All right, let's do row 4. So we've chained 3, we're going to turn our work. We're going to stitch in that first stitch because we still want to increase by 1 there. And then we'll stitch a double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And that brings us to that front post. So we're going to stitch a back post in that front post. So we're still going to stitch a double crochet. We're just going to put it in a different spot. So we're going to go to the back, go through the post of that front post from the previous row, and stitch our back post double crochet. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and that leaves our last stitch there, and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in our last stitch. 1 and 2. And again, chain, 3. All right, so this is what it looks like on the back side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets, a back post, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets. When we turn it to the front, we back post in that front post so we have that vein. All right? So now we're ready for row 5. So we've chained 3. We're going to double crochet in that same stitch. We're going to double crochet in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. There's 3 and 4. So since we're on the front of our work now, we're going to double crochet in the front post. And when we do it on the back side of our work, we'll do it in the back post. All right, so it just depends on what side of your work you're working on. All right, so I'm stitching my 4 double crochets. And then in that last stitch, we'll stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. There we go. And again, we'll chain 3. So now we have 1, 2, flatten that out so you can see it better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochets, our front post, and 6 double crochets. Chain 3. We're going to turn our work. Again, we're going to stitch in that first stitch for 1 increase, and then we'll stitch to that back post stitch. Which is 5 stitches. All right. Now we're going to do the back post, so we'll go around and stitch in that front post stitch. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 5. There's our 5th. And now we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. And again, chain 3. So now for row 6, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets with our back post, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets. And see how that's increasing, and you can see this vein down the center? All right, so now we're ready for row 7. And we're going to do this increase at the beginning and end of our rows for 3 more rows, okay? So I'm going to increase at the beginning, stitch in the double crochets across till I reach that front post. Now, front post in the front post. Stitch across to the last stitch and stitch 2 double crochets in that last stitch. There we go. I'm at the last stitch. So I'm going to stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and then chain 3. All right, so we've increased. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 front post and 8 double crochets, chain 3. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to increase again. So we'll put our double crochet in the first and then stitch to where we get to the back post. So this really is a very simple pattern. And we're only going to be increasing on this row and then the next. All right? All right, so we're almost to that back post. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, Then we'll stitch in that back post. There we go. And then we'll stitch to the last stitch. Whoops, there we go. Alrighty. And now I'm to that last stitch. And again, I'm going to stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And chain 3. All right, so now we have 7 and 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Our back post, and then 9, because we increased at the beginning and end of our row. All right, so we're going to turn it over again. Here's how it looks on the front. I hope you can see that ridge down the center there. And we're going to increase 1 more time. All right, my mat back where it belongs. So again, we'll increase there. 1 double crochet in each across till we reach that front post on this side. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so we had our increase and 8. And then we front post double crochet. And then we'll stitch across those 8 and then stitch 2 in the last double crochet. This is our last increase row. Alrighty, so we're to that last stitch and we're going to stitch 2 double crochets, and this puts us at row 9. And chain 3. Alright, let's take a look at row 9. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our front post, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 double crochets. And this, of course, is the bottom portion of our leaf. Now we're going to do some regular rows, and then we'll start a little bit of decreasing at the top. But this is how it should look at row 9. Now we're ready for row 10. So we've chained 3. We're going to turn our work. We're not going to stitch in that first double crochet anymore because we don't want to increase anymore. So we're going to go to the next stitch and stitch 1 double crochet in the next 9 stitches. So there's 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we have 10 because our chain 3 counted us 1 and we stitched 9. That brings us to our back post. So we're going to back post in that front post stitch. And then we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in those last 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then in that last stitch we're just going to stitch 1 stitch, and that makes 10. and chain 3. So we have 10, our back post, and 10, chain 3, we'll turn it over, and we're going to repeat what we did, only we're going to stitch in the front post. So we don't stitch in the first one, we stitch in the next. Some more yarn out here. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're going to do the front post. And then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in those last 10 stitches. There's 8, 9, and 10. And chain 3. So we're not increasing anymore. And so what we're going to do, we're going to repeat these 2 rows, row 9 and row 10. We're going to repeat that. Actually, that's row 10 and row 11. Row 10 and row 11. We're going to repeat that for 4 more rows, alternating every other row, our front post and back post. So I have completed those rows up through row 15, alternating our front and back post, and you're going to have 10 double crochets on each side with your front post, of course, going down the middle. All right, so once you've completed your 15th row, you're going to be on the front post. And instead of chaining 3, we're just going to chain 1 and turn, because now we're going to begin our decrease rows. So we're going to stitch the first 2 together. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, then go in the next one and pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through the first 3, yarn over and go through the last 2. So we've made our first 2 stitches 1. All right, then we'll stitch to that back post. So we stitched 8 stitches in our decrease stitch, so we only have 9 instead of 10. All right, so we're going to do our back post stitch since we're on the back side of our work. And now we're going to stitch 1 double crochet in the next 8. All right, so I've stitched 8, and that leaves 2 stitches at the end, and we're going to stitch those together. So yarn over, go in the first one, pull up a loop, go in that last one, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 3, yarn over and go through the last 2 and chain 1. So instead of having 10 and 10, we have 9 and 9 in our back post stitch. All right, and so when we turn it over, we're only chaining 1. You can see how that made a little bit of a decrease, and we're going to be doing several more rows of decrease stitches. All right, so we're going to decrease again at the beginning by stitching 2 double crochets together. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets to that front post stitch. And that is 7. So 7 with our decrease, or stitching 2 together, that gives us 8. Front post double crochet in the front post double crochet. All right, 1 double crochet in the next. Seven, and then we'll stitch the last 2 together. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Then we'll stitch our last 2 stitches. There we go. Together. Chain 1. So we chained 1. We're going to turn, and again we're going to stitch those first 2 together. Always chain 1 here because we're stitching the first 2 together. And this time we're going to stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So with our stitching our first 2 together, that's 1 plus 6, which is 7. We're going to do our back post double crochet. Get some more yarn out here, and then we'll stitch the next 6. That leaves those last 2 stitches, and we'll stitch the last 2 together. And chain 1. All right, here's the back. Let's turn it over. Whoop, my chain 1 came out. Let's get that back together here. My decrease came out also. Chain 1 and turn. There we go. All right, so you can see how this is curving in. This is to make the top of our leaf. So we have our double crochet decrease at the beginning and end, and then 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And our front post and back post stitches. All right, so now we're at row 18, and we're going to do 2 more decrease rows. So again, we're going to stitch the first 2 together. And then stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Front post double crochet. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll stitch those last 2 together in our double crochet decrease. Chain 1 and 1 more row. So we'll double crochet decrease, or 2 double crochets together, the first 2 stitches. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Our back post double crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll stitch those last 2 together. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. All right, so there is our leaf. Now we're not going to cut off this second one because we're going to put 2 of them together. Now to make the hot pad, you're going to need 2 leaves, and then we're going to put them together. But if you're just going to use it for a decoration, this one is just 1 leaf with the trim on it, okay? And you can do it with just 1, or you can do it with 2. Both ways makes really pretty hot pads or decorations. And I really love this one too. All right, so you need to make a front and a back. You make them exactly the same. Just make 2. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the 2 together. So you're going to turn one over, and you're going to put the other one on top so that the right sides are out. And on the second one, leave it attached, okay? So on the last row, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then our 6th one is our front post, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in this first stitch on both sides and stitch a single crochet. Now I'm going to bring this in closer. So we stitched 1. We're going to stitch 5 more, stitching the front and back together. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And this brings us to our front post row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we did 1 and we did 5 more. So 6 single crochets. Now we're going to chain 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to come back down here, and we're going to go right in that single crochet just like we would a picot stitch. All right, and then we'll single crochet in those last 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and get in there. There we go. 5. All right, so before we do the rest, let's take a look at how that looks. We came across the top. We stitched 6 single crochets. We did a loop just like we would a picot, and that's lined up with our vein for our leaf, and then 5 stitches on the end. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to evenly single crochet down to the point of our leaf, okay? And it's really difficult when you're trying to put 2 together sometimes, but don't let it overwhelm you. Just take your time. Try to go in the stitches and not the holes on the sides so you get a nice, neat appearance. And there's not a set amount of stitches that you need. You just don't want them to be too close together or too far apart. You don't want them puckered up, and you don't want a bunch of space, basically. All right, so I'm just going to evenly single crochet down the side of this first side of my leaf until I reach that point down at the bottom. Just evenly single crochet all the way down here, and we're sewing the front and back together. I have evenly single crocheted all the way down this side. I'm at this point, and this is that little point at the bottom of our leaf. I single crocheted. I'm going to chain 2, and we're going to do that same way like we did at the loop, but only smaller, and make a picot. and then single crochet right in that same spot. And that's going to give us a little point that's kind of to an angle to give the bottom edge of that leaf. All right, and then we're just going to go right back up the other side, evenly single crocheting our leaf hot pad. And remember, if you're only doing one layer, you do it exactly the same. The only difference is you're not sewing two pieces together with your stitches. You're just edging off. So we did the little picot down here at the bottom, and then we stitched single crochets all the way back up. Again, I'm stitching the front and back together, and then I'm just going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and clip my yarn. Alrighty, now I'm going to grab that loop and pull it to the back, even though it looks the same on the front and back. Alright, so you get a much nicer appearance. And you may need to block it a little bit. I didn't. I didn't think it was necessary. So here is my completed fall leaf hot pad. That's 2 thicknesses. And then this is the one I showed you for decoration. They're very pretty. I love them. And then here is the tea towel that goes with it. And I'll put the link for the tea towel underneath this video. And then I'll go back over to the tea towel and put the link for the hot pad so that you can make a set. All right? I just love them. I think they're adorable. And I love this yarn. It's soft and it's sturdy. Aren't they pretty?